Well, I might as well just go live.
Yeah.
Week 14. Can't wait.
Where's
Shit
our
is-
NFC
Yep.
South team?
Even though I will say, whoever thought to put this many teams on the bye week this week needs to be taken out into the street and shot. Because this is the week before the fantasy football playoffs. I do not need, like, some of my good players on the fucking bench. Like, I need to win.
Well, coincidentally, I do. I'm not playing you, though, I don't think.
I think you're gonna win, Liam, because half of my team is on fucking bye.
Well, yeah, most of your bench is on your bye. Like, you're kind of just starting whoever. But you still have Herbert. Oh, both of your wide receivers are on bye. Oh.
Yeah. And then
Oh.
every receiver on my bench. Well, I
luck.
have something going. Wait, did it go through? It went through.
Yeah, I had something that I'm looking to see if that went through.
All right.
Now y'all have me checking.
Jamison Williams, baby. This little sleeper thing right here, coming back from a torn ACL, gonna get inserted right into the Detroit offense. I think that 3 points projected is a disrespectful floor.
Oh shit! Looks like it's gonna be rainy at the fucking Buffalo Jet game.
Yeah, probably.
Okay, wait. So now that I've rearranged all my players, my entire bench is on a bye week.
Wait, really?
Look at my bench.
Oh, look at that! They're having a nice little vacation.
They're having a nice little siesta. Bye.
Got like a Backstreet Boys going on. Or was that NSYNC? What's going on?
Yeah.
Anyway, let's review last week. We always go with who played first.
You played first.
Right. That sucks because I'm eating. Well, Bills played the Patriots. And I think it's safe to say that this would be like the one time where I went into a game, I'm like, all right, bet the Bills are just going to crush the Patriots. We didn't like crush them. But dude, can I just say, it's just so weird to see that team, like the Patriots, right? They were so deflated at the end of that game.
Boy, I wish I could experience this.
Yeah. I mean, I feel that sucked. And we're
Like,
talking
and
about
honestly,
we're talking about week 13 here.
yeah.
But
As I get PTSD flashbacks.
they had all their timeouts in like still like 2.5-3 minutes left on the clock, and they just said we want to go home. Down by 14, which is weird because like you have to do that. You have to at least use the timeouts and show that you're like, all right, we're still gonna try. They literally just gave up. They threw in that towel mad early in the Bills game for some reason. That was the only like puzzling thing that happened. But
It's like, yeah, fuck this. Go next.
that's what it felt like, dude. Like in the fourth quarter, that team just wanted to go home. It was so weird to see in an opponent. Like usually, I'm used to seeing two football teams like trying real hard. Like,
I'm used to seeing Vontae Davis retire at halftime.
I mean,
it's weird when it's the other team.
well, I mean, when you look at like just a couple weeks back, the Green Bay game, right? Like we were really high on Green Bay, like point wise. We're up like at least 3 scores on Green Bay, and they were still trying. You know what I mean? Like right down to the last play, they were still trying to somehow get into that game for some reason. They were doing it by running the football all the goddamn time, which was confusing, but regardless, seeing Belichick just give up against the Bills was very strange.
And yet cathartic.
Oh, yeah. And the last thing I'll add. And another thing. No, I'm just kidding.
One more thing.
I don't really get too hyped about being a Bills fan like too much because I don't want to jinx it.
Right.
But holy shit, this weekend was like the greatest weekend to be a Bills fan for whatever reason. We took care of business on Thursday Night Football. And then Sunday comes. Bills aren't playing. You know, we're just going to relax. We're going to watch a little football here and there. Kansas City lost.
We're going to watch the competition.
Kansas City lost. The Jets
To the
lost.
Bengals, yeah. Fuck you.
Miami lost.
Yeah.
Tennessee lost.
Yeah.
Like literally everybody that we care about as far as like tiebreakers and positioning goes, like in the top, you know, current top 7 of the playoffs, everybody fucking lost.
Chargers
which was
lost
nuts.
too.
Yeah. Literally
Like, 'cause-
everybody but the Bills lost, like on the top 8.
Yeah. Which in a way is also kind of helpful for the Jets, because I mean, but I'll get to that when it's my turn.
It keeps everybody else pretty much in the same.
Yeah,
Same.
you didn't lose any ground.
Yeah, one step back, but everybody took a step back. So
Yep.
that's it for me.
All right. Well, I guess we didn't technically lose, so I'll go next.
Sure.
Uh,
You lost in spirit, though.
man, we lost. Like, we didn't lose, but goddamn, did we throw that game? Like, wow, did we throw that game? That second half was so pathetic to watch. It's bad. Like, the best receiver on our team yesterday was Isaiah Hodgkins.
Good player.
Like, yeah, I mean, he's definitely showing up. Slayton did have a good deep catch, but then on the drive where it mattered most, he dropped one. Then they decided to go back to him, and it was just a miss. So, like, the most important drive of the game, where we need to, like, kill clock and make sure that they don't get into good field position with, like, 2 minutes left, we fucking 3-and-outed on 3 deep balls. We took 10 seconds off the clock. I wanted to strangle Kafka. Like, what the fuck was this play calling? And granted, it should never have come to that, because Slayton should have caught the first one, but after he didn't, why did you do it 2 more times? Leading up to that, though, it was a relatively lackluster game. It was a pretty standard game of football between 2 decent teams, just trending in different directions. You know, the Commanders on the up, and the Giants are absolutely faded. You know, I wouldn't be. I would literally go on to RNFL right now and just be like, "Yo, fade me," because we didn't get this win. We've rematched them in 2 weeks. I don't think we're gonna win that game, because I thought that we were gonna split like home and home. We play the Eagles this week, who are just unstoppable.
Well,
And
they're not unstoppable, but
To be fair, though, you tied with the only team that's actually beaten the Eagles. So theoretically, there is a chance.
okay, you can say that all you want, but you look at this team and how they've been playing the last couple of weeks, and
And they're injured to shit. No, I get it.
no, they've actually been getting players back now.
you got Bellinger back, which is kind of
We
a
got
big
Bellinger
piece.
back. We got Ojulari, who combined with Thibodeau to have like 5 or 6 pressures and knockdowns on Heineke. I think they only got like 2 actual sacks, but they were in his face all game because they're both coming off of each edge, you know? So getting Ojulari back is massive for our defense, but Jalen Hurts is not really the kind of quarterback that's going to fold to that pressure. They did they had their work cut out for them because they played Lamar earlier this year and they beat him. And Hurts is essentially Lamar, you know? I wouldn't say like Lamar 2.0 because it's not like anything extra I think that he does. It's just that he's always a threat to run with the ball.
He is.
But Philly's offense is clicking so much better than Baltimore's all year that I think they're going to get gashed.
I think Hurts is better than Lamar. I think he's Lamar Jackson, but more like he always has that threat of running, but he's in no way afraid to pass the ball. Whereas I feel like Lamar sometimes relies too much on his feet. If I would actually compare Hurts to someone, I would actually start to compare him to Josh Allen. I think he's like 2 years ago Josh Allen.
He might actually be.
He might actually be like last year Josh Allen.
He might be better.
He's Allen without the cannon, but he still throws a pretty good. Deep ball.
He throws an accurate ball. I mean, did you see that fucking breadbasket throw to AJ Brown?
Bro, we were in Discord together when that thing just dropped. I was like,
my god.
That was such a disgusting like throw and catch.
It was so bad it got the Titans GM fired. even though that was a lot on Hurts, it was like just the way Brown just fucking did it. Like I think the Titans are just like, get the fuck out.
Yeah,
like,
the Titans are like, you suck. You fucking traded this guy? Are you high?
Mm-hmm.
Get off our team.
Yikes.
So, even with injuries coming back, the offense stalled out really bad. The second half, all of overtime, could barely move the ball. By the grace of God, we didn't lose that game because our defense stood on its head when it mattered most. Except for the drive at the end of not the end of regulation, because I actually missed that drive, but it was enough to force overtime. But the drive before that, when Heineke just marched down the field at will and scored the game-tying touchdown to Dotson. That fourth down play, it just made me so mad.
Yeah.
4th and 4, you have to get a stop, and you gave up like a 20-yard bomb. That's the game right there. If you stop that play, the game is over. And they scored, and then it was just punt after punt after that. And then Graham Gano, who was like, 5 years ago, he's like, I'm going to make a 63-yard field goal to beat the Giants and crush any hope of a good season early on. And then yesterday, like, I'm going to come up 5 yards short on a 58er.
I mean, the weather I don't think was great in MetLife.
No, the weather was just cold. There was no wind. There really wasn't. Wind didn't matter at all because, at least left or right, because he was just short. So, yeah, Giants get a tie. Ties are dank, but are they? When you're hunting for a playoff push, ties are not dank.
I mean, and that was your guys' first tie in like 25 years.
That was
right?
our first tie since the last time we tied Washington in 1997. So yes.
And it's crazy because like I think afterward I was looking it up, the Jets have not tied since the 80s. So we are not, ties are obviously pretty rare. Like we only get maybe like 1 or 2 a year. I mean, lately at least.
Having two ties in one calendar NFL year is
pretty rare.
Is pretty high, I would say.
Yeah.
I think I think the average is probably like 1 every other year.
Lately, it feels like it's been 1 a year. I think for like the past 5 or so years, with the way that their like offensive like mindset has gotten, I almost feel like there's at least 1 a year.
And you know what's funny is that I'm 99% sure that the other tie this year, Texas Colts, was also 2020.
Yeah, I think it's just that's just the score of the.
It just so happens to be.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've got. It only gets harder from here. Eagles, then Washington again at Washington, and then I think it's Vikings, Colts, Eagles. So not a lot of room to move up unless the Giants start playing out of their noggin these last couple of weeks, and I just don't see it.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens, but
yeah.
I have no hope for a victory on Sunday. My hope is that they don't get rinsed.
Yeah, be competitive.
Yeah. See how long you can hold out for.
Yeah.
Especially with Dallas deciding to just drop 50 points on whoever they want, it seems.
God, that game could have been a lot less painful. Like, by like the fourth quarter, it was just like, all right, can you just let the Vikings do some run plays and then like we can end this quarter and go home?
It fucking sucks as a Giants fan because You're like, oh man, the Eagles are gonna get the 1 seed. This fucking sucks. They're so good. And then you're like, hold on there. There's one team in the NFC that can stop the Eagles. And you're like, really? It's the Cowboys. That's worse. All right.
Yeah.
Talk to me about the Jets game.
Well, and spoiler alert, they lost. But it wasn't as bad of a loss as it could have been. I think the game ended up being more of like a litmus test for where the Jets really are, which is they're not in that upper echelon of NFL teams yet. They're not with your Cowboys, Vikings, Eagles. They're not with the Chiefs, the Bills. You know, they're not a Super Bowl favorite. And you know, right now they're still kind of competing with the rest of the riffraff wildcard teams. But I think with Mike White at the helm, they are a wildcard team, at the very least. He threw for over 300 yards again. He ran in a touchdown. He had 2 interceptions, but they were both... one of them was a bounce off of the tight end, and the other was the last-second desperation heave kind of at the end of the game, so doesn't really... I mean, it counts, but it doesn't...
It was like the same exact thing that Allen did to them.
Yeah. So the legend of Mike White, in many ways, still grows. He does have his biggest challenge yet, since last year the Bills are kind of the one that turned his, you know, carriage into a pumpkin, so to speak, last year with the 4 interception game. So he kind of needs to beat that demon in him.
Right, but he also, like, he's got going for him this year is that this is a much better team than last year.
True. The fact that, you know, Garrett Wilson is... he is him. And the defense can get the stops. And, I mean, we beat the Bills last time with Wilson only throwing for, like, 150 yards. I mean, granted, we did a lot of it through the ground. I don't know if Michael Carter's going to be healthy. He was a full participant at practice, but I don't know. It sounds like there's a flu going around, so we'll see what happens. But overall, as much as it sucks to lose, and it was a game that they could have won if they were way more efficient in the red zone. I mean, they started the game off with like 4 straight field goals, where it's like, okay, you're getting close, but you're not close enough. Like, you need to start, you know, calling some better plays. And especially like that like 3rd and 4th quarter, where it's like you're this close to a fucking touchdown. And I'm pretty sure, if I'm remembering it, you had the field goal. There was a field goal that there was a penalty that turned like a 1st and goal at like the 3 or the 4 into like 1st and goal at the 10. And at that point, like, you know, the efficiency just goes way down. The touchdown run, which he barely got on 4th down. And then the 2 goal drives at the end where, like, they got close, but they just couldn't fucking do it. Like, there's encouraging signs with the offense under White. Like, I feel like they're getting there. They just need that, like, final push in the play calling.
So what was that like, I don't want to call it obsession, but let's say focus. What was with that focus on Berrios? I feel like that 4th down play where he doesn't hang on to the ball in the end zone.
Yeah, what about it?
Like, why are you going to him in that situation?
Oh, yeah, that I could not tell. I think...
Unless everybody else is just really covered and that's like your 3rd read.
I think Berrios was the first read. First off, okay, look, I like Braxton Berrios, but looking at the wide receivers on this team, he is at at best wide receiver 4, if not wide receiver 5.
Right.
He's very much the gadget guy / kick return, punt returner.
It's like last year, it's like I understand going for Berrios because he's like kind of your wide receiver 2 behind Corey Davis. But now you've got Wilson Davis and
Moore.
And
Moore. Mims is playing now too. Like, he's carved himself some playing time.
You've even got my little fantasy sleepers on him at Knight, who's having a good breakout.
Yeah, he's had a great 100 yards from scrimmage past couple games. He's doing really good. And he was a standout in the preseason too. Like, people wanted him as like RB3, and we decided to go with Ty Johnson for whatever reason. And now suddenly, Knights had 2 straight games, 100 yards from scrimmage, both passing and the run. That's great.
And he's basically pushed James Robinson back out of rotation.
Yeah, I've heard some things about Robinson. Like, maybe he's dealing with like a lingering injury. Robinson, I think, is just frustrated because he's not getting the touches that he wants. Because guess what? We have running back depth. Woohoo! Like,
it's from a team standpoint, it's a good problem to have.
It is. It is. Like, and I mean, think about it. Next year, the Jets are possibly going to go with a running back core of Breece Hall is running back 1, Michael Carter running back 2, Bam Knight is running back 3. That's going to be fantastic because that's a triple-headed threat out of the backfield.
Yep.
But the whole thing with Berrios, like, I understand partially why they keep him for red zone packages, because they might want to run a jet sweep, and that's been sometimes pretty effective for them. And Berrios is the jet sweep guy, even though it probably should be more. I mean, Berrios has kind of carved out that niche, but I don't know. Like, the thing is, and he had the ball too. 9 times out of 10, he catches that ball, it's a touchdown. That was just the one time, like, it was a little bit behind, he was falling to the ground, he had it on him, and when he went to go secure it, he inadvertently knocked the ball out and onto the ground. That's all that it was. So, yeah. I don't know if you got anything else.
No, I think we've covered it. We covered all of our teams pretty well.
Yep.
Picks time.
Yep. Let me just swap the music over.
To recap, we've had another week of no movement because all of us got 5-point weeks once again.
We all missed our ones.
We gotta win our ones, baby.
I almost got the one, man. Fucking.
What was your one?
It was the Chicago game against Green Bay.
Chicago, Green Bay.
Green Bay or Chicago just collapsed.
Yeah, you know who else collapsed? My fucking one, the Chargers.
And mine was who did I pick as my one?
I think you picked.
Did I pick? No, not the Chargers.
No, you picked.
Or maybe I did pick the Chargers.
Can you send me a link to that spreadsheet so I can like see what I picked and all that stuff?
Yeah, I haven't saved. I'm just looking for.
Buffalo was your 2. Week 13.
Jaguars is my one.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
that wasn't even close.
I deserve that.
All right, so the points stand. As of now, I am still in the lead with 54 points, and Puz and Liam are tied at 50 points. And we got, 5 weeks to go?
Sure.
Yep.
So, being in the lead, since we all tied, I will go first. Now, let me tell you something. I came so close to picking 3 teams all with the same record.
Oh.
It's kind of crazy, but I had to talk myself out of one of them because
the Ravens travel to Pittsburgh, and
it's like Professor Oak said, there's a time and place for everything. There's a better opportunity for that team. So, my 1-pointer. It's gonna be a little, maybe not so spicy given the situation, but on paper it could be a little spicy. For my 1-pointer, I'm taking the Steelers over the Ravens.
Ooh.
Wow.
With Lamar out, with Lamar out, you know. I mean, it's kind of a toss-up. It's a little bit of a risky play, but I kind of like it. I like it.
For a 1-pointer, I think you can. That's an appropriate amount of risk. The Ravens' offense, even with Lamar, like, granted they were playing the vaunted Broncos defense last week, but God, they had 3 points through 58 minutes of the game.
Broncos country, let's die.
Oh, like Ravens, you're grounded, man.
Yeah.
You guys
Nevermore.
You guys couldn't. Yeah, rip Ravens. They never scored. Pittsburgh's defense is coming back to life. I think Kenny Pickett is finding his groove. The Ravens can't hold a lead.
Yeah.
I'm willing to put one on the Steelers. They're actually favored in this game.
They are.
So, yeah, it's at home. It's a divisional game. They're fighting for their playoff lives. Both teams are, honestly. I like the Steelers. I think they could pull this one out. You know, and they only got to win by like 2 or 3 points. But this could be a statement win for Kenny Pickett. My 2-pointer. I like Raiders
Whoa.
to beat the Rams.
Oh. Well. Okay.
You're going down if Baker starts, boy.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't think
don't
Baker's
think-
starting.
No,
They
not
just
at
got
all.
him yesterday.
sure Baker could start, but the Rams kind of have the same problem as the Giants right now of who you throwing it to. A lot of their receivers are hurt too.
Yeah, Cup's out.
Their whole team, they threw in the towel.
Yeah, and they've got nothing because they've had no first round picks for like 3 years, so they have no talent coming in.
Yeah, they're about to suck for a little bit.
The Raiders, you know, coming off a big win against the Chargers, also fighting for a playoff spot. If they win this game, I think they're 6-7 if they win, so not out of it. You know, the AFC, like that 7 seed's going to be such a toss up, man. There's a lot of teams that could be in position to fight for that 7 seed. The Raiders could make a late push, and against a cakewalk Rams team, in theory, Josh Jacobs is still playing like a man possessed. Devontae Adams could run wild on that secondary. I like the Raiders for 2. And my 3-pointer. Yes, I'm not kidding when I said I had to talk myself out of picking 3 teams that were 5-7. Because you know who I really wanted to pick?
Who?
Detroit. But I'm not going to because there's a time and place.
Coward.
And I only have 1 pick of the Lions left. So I want to use it where I think I could get the most value. My 3-pointer instead will be the former Legion of Boom, now led by Geno Smith, the Seattle Seahawks.
Your first pick was more shocking than the next.
I mean, yeah,
that's why we're
sure.
quiet. We don't have any reaction, sadly. It's a good pick.
I mean, I don't really expect one for like the 3-pointer. You're
well,
supposed
why'd
to be.
you wait?
Nah.
There's a big pause. You're just like.
Well, I think the bigger shocker was wanting to pick Detroit. Like, it could have been 3, 5, and 7 teams, but Yeah, Seattle, they're at home against Carolina. Carolina is still in kind of disarray right now. Now Baker's gone. That means Darnold is starting. Darnold versus Geno. Man, that's going to be good. No, it's not.
No. Well, will be good for Darnold. Geno's actually looking okay.
Yeah, Geno, I think they should win that game pretty handedly. So Carolina for 3. Not Carolina for 3. Seattle for 3.
No,
it's
he said
locked in.
Carolina
It's
for 3.
locked
Right
in.
in it. No, it's locked in.
No. There was no locked-in sound effect.
Uh,
All right. So Steelers for 1, Raiders for 2, Seahawks for 3. Who went second last week?
I feel like I went second last week, so I think Puzz.
I think you did, yeah.
All right.
So Puzz, you go second.
All right. Started off, you know how I like to keep the 1-point pick somewhat spicy. I really don't know if I have a very spicy pick. I have one maybe.
Okay.
And that's going to be the Monday Night Football game. I'm going to pick Patriots over Cardinals, but I don't think that's really that spicy this week.
It's not. It's like mild salsa spicy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's yeah.
That's okay.
It's like chips and salsa at a sit-down restaurant spicy.
It's going to be a boring ass Monday night game.
Mm.
It's going to be really boring. But I mean, how often do I get a chance to pick the Patriots?
Yeah.
And feel decent about it?
You haven't yet.
There you go.
That's your first Pats pick.
For the 2-point pick, let's see. How many? This is why I asked for the link, because I don't know how many times I've picked certain teams. What teams have I picked 3 of? How about that?
You've picked the Packers 3 times.
Yeah.
For some reason.
Hey, you got 2 out of 3.
Did I really?
Yeah.
You've picked the Chiefs 3 times.
That's fine.
And you've picked the Ravens 3 times.
Okay. All right.
I think that's it.
All right. I'm gonna change it up, I guess, a little bit. I'm gonna take for my 2-point pick. I'm gonna take the Bills over the Jets. And
I see how it is.
All right, that'll be your last Bills pick.
that's fine. The reason why I'm going a little different on this is that
Did you not get the link?
did you send it somewhere?
I thought Liam said he was going to send it.
Oh, you need me to send it?
No. I can send it. I just thought I heard you say, "Oh yeah, I'll send it."
Now,
I said I could. I didn't.
There are about 5 reasons why I think this game is going to go quite different this time around. 1, home field advantage. 2, different players are playing this week. Yeah, we lost Von Miller, unfortunate, but
Isn't Matt Milano also day-to-day?
No, Matt Milano is full participant. But at the time we played last time, we didn't have Poyer, we didn't have Milano, we didn't have Trey White. We have all 3 of those players again. We also didn't have Tommy Sweeney, who is like one of our important offensive linemen. So that offensive line was kind of really compromised as a result. So maybe like of those 4 players, I would consider 3 of them pretty key. So I think it's going to be a little bit different, at least with the running game. Milano is just such an impact player when it comes to run defense. He just knows how to spy the ball and keep an eye on the ball, make sure he attacks, the running back pretty much at the line of scrimmage. So I think it'll just be a little bit different based on those specific factors. And then 3-point pick, I think I'm going to play it a little safe this week, and I'm just going to take the Cowboys over the Texans. Because doy.
Pretty much.
I'm not going to explain that pick. I'm just starting to get a little bit more competitive. But that's it for my picks.
All right.
Yeah, I would pick it if I was not locked out of the Cowboys.
Yep.
But I went 3 for 3, so.
So I have to start closing out some of these teams. and because we're entering the final five weeks. So all 3 of these picks, I believe, will block me out of the respective teams.
Okay. So he's going to close 3 teams.
Yes.
Which 3 will it be?
So, for my 1-point play, I was originally thinking about making this my 2, but I think with Brendan picking it as his 3, I need to switch it to a 1, just in case. I'm picking the Seahawks over the Panthers as my 1. I originally had it as my 2.
Little strategy.
Yeah, a little strategy here. For my 2-point play, let me just make sure that I'm looking at this right. Yes, I am. Gonna be a little bit risky, but well, not risky really. Because Watson looked like shit, and I think he's gonna continue to look like shit. I'm gonna close out the Bengals as my 2. Seriously, he did not look good. Like, the Browns got most of their points off of defense. He looked like trash. Off of defense and special teams. Meanwhile, the Bengals are coming off of beating the fucking Chiefs.
Yes. But remember, the Browns gave them a lot of trouble earlier in the year.
Yes, but
I believe they lost that game.
Yes, but I think that they're now... I think that was early in the year, wasn't it? Like, that was... Let me see if I can find what week
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And they lost 32-13.
Yes. So I think that was a time when I don't think the Bengals are 100%. I think the Bengals are working it at full capacity now. And I think that they're going to want some manner of revenge. So I'm going to pick the Bengals as my 2. I did want to hedge my bet with it as the 1, but And for my 3, though, I think it's time for Broncos country to die. For real. And I'm going to close out the Chiefs over the Broncos. Because, good Lord, we need a new worst game I have ever watched from Perna. Because, you know what? Welcome to being a Jets fan for the past, 10 years, dude. That's basically what we've gotten. I mean, good Lord. The Broncos just... That is the most anemic motherfucking offense I've ever watched. It's bad football. I hope Hackett gets fired, at the end of the year. Really do, because, the Broncos deserve better, I think. But they also deserve better than Russell Wilson, who looks like a hot piece of garbage. Meanwhile...
I believe you, but watch this be a trap game because of how the Broncos defense is.
I would think that. However, the Chiefs, coming off of a loss, they're going to be out for blood. We saw what happened last time when they lost to the Bills. They fucking eviscerated the Niners. And that was the best defense in football. I mean, at least it is now. I could see where you might think that this is a trap game. Hey, I could go 0 for this week. It's certainly a possibility, but I'm gonna close out some of these teams right here, right now. So Seahawks 1, Bengals 2, Chiefs 3.
Okay, and that is the pick section brought to you by nobody.
Cheetos.
Sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends.
You know, I went and bought some Cheetos the other day. I'm gonna go get some when we're done.
Oh, goddamn!
I actually found a bag of not honey barbecue, just straight barbecue Fritos. It's been.
I actually also just bought a bag of regular Fritos the other day because I need snacks for work.
I need snacks. Give me snacks.
Bro, that's what I eat. That's what I eat for lunch. I eat snacks.
Snacks.
So I got like some pretzels. I got some Pop-Tarts.
Some roast beef, some chicken, a pizza.
Man, I wish.
Funyuns.
I mean, since the pandemic, I really haven't gone out to lunch all that much anymore.
Well,
I used to do it. I used to do it pretty regularly, but it's also just kind of far. I don't feel like
it's also fucking expensive.
I got a question for you. What's one snack food that you haven't had in a long time, but you see them on the shelves and you're like, ugh. And like at some point we should buy.
And you're like, as in ew?
So well, I don't know. Like, name a snack food that like exists that is very obscure but still exists. Like Funyuns. I consider.
I was
one
about
of those.
to say Funyuns.
Yeah, I have a whole fucking. I bought a
My dad
like a variety
loves Funyuns,
pack.
so I grew up with them.
Yeah, my family we like some Funyuns. We have a whole variety pack of there's Funyun rings, Cheetos Puffs, honey barbecue Fritos, the sour cream and cheddar Ruffles, and the Cool Ranch Doritos.
I'm gonna die on this hill. Cheetos Puffs are the best kind of Cheeto.
Oh yeah, puffcorn.
Absolutely. Well,
I had a bag of puffcorn.
I've had those too. Those are also really good. I think he's just talking about like the soft cheese doodle
curls.
Like
Yeah,
it's called Cheetos Puffs. So, like,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
not the crunchy Cheeto, it's the puffy Cheeto.
Yeah.
And I am in full lockstep with Brendan on
The
that.
ones,
like
the ones that when they're not dusted in the orange cheese flavor just look like packing peanuts.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Like
totally
I bought a bag a couple months ago for the first time to try the jalapeno cheddar Cheetos. Just
Pretty good.
didn't click with me.
I liked them. I like the jalapeno cheddar ones. I had
have
like the
not
regular
tried
Cheetos, not like puff version of it, but the regular Cheetos.
The regular crunchy version of it. Yeah, I couldn't eat more than like a handful at a time before I was like, all right, you know what? I'm kind of sick of these now.
That's actually kind of why I like them, because I don't have to eat an entire bag.
Well, then
Like-
the problem became that that half the bag sat there and went bad.
Well, that's different. I go back to it, but yeah.
Yeah, because if I'm not sitting there shoveling 3/4 of a bag in my face, like it's just gonna sit there. And that's what happens with the puffs. Like I'm gonna go and eat a bunch before I have to tell myself, like, no, I have to stop.
You want to know something about Funyuns, though, that is interesting to me, and I'm not sure if anyone notices, but the bag for Funyuns has not changed my entire lifetime.
No,
it is still the same fucking bag.
Yep,
since
it's
I
still
was
the same
born,
bag.
which I find charming.
until you die.
Yeah,
it's comfort. Heart failure.
Did you guys ever have Bugles?
Yes, I love Bugles.
I've had them. I am not big on them.
You know what I miss? I miss the barbecue Bugles. Because like I have not found them.
Those sound better.
I have not found them in a while. I'm actually gonna look them up.
I probably haven't had Bugles since I was a kid.
You know what food I kind of miss is Doritos 3D.
Oh, they have them now.
Oh, they do. They brought them back.
Yeah.
I haven't seen them in
Yeah,
forever.
I see them. Like I just saw them at my store.
You know what? You know what else is a really popular snack that I just don't fuck with? Takis.
Yes. Yeah. No, I don't. I do not like Takis at all. Like I feel like there's just something weird about them where it's just like, nah. I know that there are people who really like spicy stuff that, go for Takis. Me personally, no. Yeah, I am trying to find these like fucking
Munchos.
I would definitely I would get a bag of Munchos every now and then just to
I don't
mix
know.
things up.
I think I've had them.
Munchos
just don't
are like
remember.
they're potato chips, but if
With
they
holes
were
in them.
if they were like deep fried until their surface resembled the face of the moon, like they're just bubbled over and greasy as fuck. Like someone left a bunch of potato chips in the deep fryer for way too long. Anywho, I do have one sticking or kicking. I don't know if it's any good, but I do have one.
Go for it.
Yeah.
All right. Sticking or kicking. The Cowboys finally win a playoff game.
Brendan might have to just kick that. He might have to kick that just out of reflex.
Just if you try to think about it though, like
I know who like they'll get like
we've seen
the
good
third
teams.
seed. Like the way it would go now, it would be Eagles, Vikings, Cowboys, because I think the Vikings are a game up on the Cowboys, even though they lost to them.
Well, I mean, regardless if they're home or not, it hasn't been the reason.
No, but it just depends on who they're playing. Like that's what I'm trying to figure out. So they're the 3 seed. That means they're playing the 6th, who might either be New York or Washington, or who's the other NFC team that's like kind of in play like that? Actually, it might just be them. The NFC outside of like the top 7 is just trash.
Yeah, they're pretty rough.
Not Detroit. It could be the Giants, the Commanders, San Francisco could fall to that. Seattle. No, it might be Seattle because I think San Francisco is going to win the division. So yeah, it's either Giants, Commanders, or Seahawks. I think they could beat all of them. So I will actually stick that. Given the current landscape of the playoff hunt, yeah, I'm willing to stick that.
I will say, keep in mind that we've seen matchups in Dallas teams that should have beat the team they were matched up against in the playoffs, but have still lost.
Right.
Yeah.
But like,
do you think this is the year they finally like don't let that happen, where they actually
their offense is playing possessed, and their
defense is kind of playing possessed too. Like,
Micah Parsons is gonna be like, "Yo, I'm gonna kill all of you if we don't win a playoff game." He's gonna be like, "Hey Jerry, you need a new defense. Why? Because I'm going to jail and everybody else is dead."
Yeah, I'll stick. I'll stick it. I think the Cowboys do win a playoff game.
Probably
finally.
as far as they get.
I think right now the NFC is really just a 3-team race. I think it's Eagles, Vikings, Cowboys. I think it's those 3, and everybody else.
I wanted. Keep going.
Yeah, no, like everybody else, I mean, the 49ers. Maybe they would be like one of the top 4 teams, but I just don't know. Like, I feel like the Seahawks are probably gonna lose. Right now it says the Giants are in the playoffs, I think they would lose in the wild card round. Buccaneers absolutely for sure. I so hope they get crushed. Like
For just as much for fuck Bowles as it is for fuck Brady.
yes,
In your case.
yes. Yeah, I feel like it's gonna come down to like Eagles. It could be like Eagles, Cowboys versus like Vikings, 49ers for the fucking NFC. And at that point, you know, it might just be like fucking Vikings, Cowboys for the NFC Championship. I don't know.
Okay, so the thing that I saw that I wanted to bring up, there was a little graphic on Twitter from, I think, one of the NFL channels. Who's the best 9-3 team right now out of Kansas City, Dallas, and Buffalo?
Ooh. I would eliminate the Bills.
Yeah, I would probably too.
Honestly,
Actually,
I think it's the Cowboys.
I would say Cowboys, and then I would not be able to give you an answer between Kansas City and Buffalo.
I feel like I want to say Cowboys just because I feel like the Cowboys are a more complete team.
They are.
They have the defense and they have the offense.
And they've been consistently scoring points.
Yes.
Bills are just a weird situation at the moment because ever since the last Jets game, he got injured with that elbow, and it's it's clearly had an impact on his game. Like, even though he's not like a limited participant, even though he's still throwing the ball and like this and that, but it's like, it's clearly a nagging issue with him. So yeah, I don't really have faith. I think the Bills can adjust their game plan because of it, but the Cowboys don't have to adjust shit. They're just going to bomb it and run it like up your gut. Doesn't matter. Kansas City, I just don't think they're as good. Again, like, they're probably the most fortunate team in the AFC at the moment. Like, we thought it was going to be a little bit more competitive for them, but it turned out to not be the case, which was really disappointing for like every other team in the AFC this year. Like, their opponents, they played Broncos twice, Raiders twice, and the Chargers twice, and all those teams are sub 500, or I think Chargers are 500 right now. Like, it's just a bad division. I guess Tennessee's gotten the same situation too, right? Their division's almost worse. Colts 4-8, Jags 4-8.
They're just being handed the division by default.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what kind of sucks the most about, you know, Kansas City, I think, is that they're just being fed wins.
Yeah. I mean, they just kind of have to be there, be themselves. They'll maybe be like a 9-8 team at the end of the year when all's said and done. And they're still they'll take the AFC South.
Yeah.
What they do with that, I have no idea.
I think Kansas City's postseason success relies on their seed position. So, like, if they don't play at home, I don't think Mahomes does nearly as good in the postseason. He's just been so fortunate. You know, that team has been able to have home field advantage every game in the playoffs, like almost all the time. So it's going to be a major test if this year if he has to play like a meaningful game on the road in a hostile environment. But we'll see. They might still take the division. I mean, they are still like up there. So Bills and Kansas City, I think, are in the same league with one another. Cowboys are just far ahead of both of those teams.
Yeah.
So with the Bills and the Chiefs are kind of in league with each other, where do the Bengals slot in?
I think they're on the up and up, only because I think the Ravens are quietly starting to free fall.
Bengals, I'm going to rank slightly lower for two reasons. One, their offensive line is like really still kind of bad. And they only have like one true weapon in Jamar. The other players are good. Like Higgins is good.
Boyd and Higgins they're good enough to where they can take the attention away from Chase.
But if any team has better than average like corners and safeties, they're not going to be able to overcome those two.
Oh, and I think I was looking when we were looking at like the Bengals earlier. I think Mixon's coming back this week.
Well, that'll help. Yeah. Like if you put Cincinnati against the Cowboys, I still think the Cowboys defense is going to be enough to suppress that offense. You put the Cowboys against the Bills, that defense is going to be more than enough to suppress that offense. And Cincinnati's defense isn't good enough to kind of like make enough plays against a team like Dallas or a team like Kansas City or the Bills. They'll make a couple stops, but I just don't think it'll be enough, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
The Bills do have to play the Bengals, I think, in like 2 weeks. So
yeah, that should be a good game.
That's going to be a pretty huge and meaningful game for both teams.
Actually 4 weeks. You play them the day after New Year's.
Oh damn! That's a lot later than I thought.
Yeah, week 17.
Also, we're getting New Year's Eve and New Year's Day football. That's going to be Christmas Eve and Christmas Day football.
Yeah,
That's going to be pretty fucking exciting. I like that.
we are. AFC North 8-4, 8-4, 5-7, 5-7.
Perfectly balanced.
Yeah,
as
but
all
then
things
you
should
look at
be.
the you look at the South and the West though, and you're like, Jesus Christ.
The West should have been so much better than it is.
The Titans are 7-5, and
Is that just code for saying the Broncos should have been a lot better?
the Titans are 7-5 and in solid control of the division.
Yeah.
Okay, so like a lot of that does fall on the Broncos, but the Raiders should have been a lot better too.
The
But all
Raiders should
three
have been
of those
better, and
teams-
the Chargers should have been better.
All three of
And
those teams should have been
yeah.
better.
The Chargers are at least in the playoff hunt, but like the Raiders are 5-7, and I think they're basically a loss away, in my opinion, from being out of the conversation entirely. And the Broncos are out of the conversation entirely. Like they're about to be mathematically eliminated.
It's incredible that they aren't already.
I know.
Well,
You would think 3-9.
is Houston mathematically eliminated?
Yes.
Yes.
Houston and Chicago are both mathematically eliminated.
So says Sports Ball. It's the only reason I know that.
Well, I'm looking at the NFL.com playoff picture
Oh,
thing right now.
yeah. Tree eliminated the Texans and the Bears in Sports Ball. So
Which I think if the Rams lose tomorrow, they're probably mathematically eliminated. Saints and Carolina are probably staring that down too.
Yeah, it depends on the division that they're in, because, I mean, like, what division was it? Like, NFC South, they're all...
Yeah, they're still technically in play, but at some point, they have to die. The Falcons are on their bye week. I don't think they're going to get mathematically eliminated this week, but...
Well, it's impossible for any of those teams to get eliminated anytime soon, because if
Buccaneers are only 6-6.
Yeah, right. It's 6-5-4. Those are the winning records at the moment. You know what I mean? 6-6, 5-8, 4-8, 4-9. So I guess the Saints are a little bit ahead of that. But I mean, Tampa loses 2 weeks and Atlanta loses.
Mm.
And then Panthers somehow rip off 2 wins that are in the playoffs. So it's like a 2 week, 2 weeks can change and put the Saints or the Carolina Panthers in the playoffs.
Mm.
So if all those teams continue to be mediocre, all of those teams are going to be in the hunt technically till the last week, depending on how that division seeds go.
Yeah.
I just can't imagine being like a Carolina Panthers fan and be like, guys, we're 4-8, but it ain't over yet.
it ain't over till it's over.
It ain't over yet. We
It's
gotta
like
make the
Sam
playoffs,
Darnold.
or we could get a top pick. Like, you're not getting number 1 at this point.
Because Liam and I, we've been in a division where, like, if you're 4-8, it's usually because the Patriots are like, 10-2.
Yeah, Brady dead.
So we're just fucked because, like, we'll never be able to catch the division, and our record is terrible compared to anybody else in the wild cards. Just can't imagine being a fan in a situation like that. Just looking at a 4-8 team and be like, we could still make playoff, boys. That's unbelievable to me. Well, I guess we could preview our upcoming weeks here.
Yeah. Well, you and me are pretty much, one conversation there.
I also, well, the thing is, I also kind of gave my briefing on the pick. If you got any thoughts on that matchup coming up.
Yeah, like there is things could definitely be different. And I feel like we could end up coming back to the Vikings game for the Jets and going, you should have won that. Because I think if they did win that, they could lose this Bills game and it wouldn't be that big of a deal. But now I think it's like, you know, we need to win. I guess going back to last week, we needed to win 3 out of 6. And we've beaten the Bills before. So I feel like theoretically we can do it again. And our defense is still really good. There hasn't been much change in that. If Allen, you know, if he throws an errant pass or two, I mean, fantastic. But, you know, he might clean that up. I think he realized after, you know, last time he's not playing the Jets from a couple years ago. We're actually halfway decent now. Also, don't throw to Sauce Gardner. They'll still try. It just comes down to the offense. The last time when we played you, we were definitely afraid to pass the ball. We let Zach Wilson game manage. He only threw when he had to. And maybe that worked. Maybe, you know, not giving the Bills the opportunity to, you know, intercept a pass here or there ended up working to our benefit rather than, you know, I guess our detriment. But Mike White has thrown in 2 games, he's thrown 300 yards. Like, you know, I don't expect him to do 300 yards again, but I feel like if he can get 250, 260, like, and we still have Bam Knight, we still have Michael Carter, we might activate James Robinson this week, who knows? You know, we definitely have a running game triple threat there. Offensive line still looking okay, and you guys lost Von Miller, so I think that's going to take some pressure off of our line. But I also White's just a better. He has a much better pocket presence than Wilson. Like, Wilson can't sense pressure for shit. White absolutely knows, like, when the pressure's there, he steps up and he throws. So, really, that's going to be the difference maker. Is going to be how our revamped offense under Mike White performs against your defense. That now I think you said has Milano back and it has White back, and you know it's definitely, you know, and you have the home field advantage too. It is supposedly it's going to be a little bit wet. It's going to be, you know, so that might play into the game a bit.
I will also add in that if you do manage to win this game, it would be incredibly impressive for that organization, because I just had to look it up too because I was curious when the last time the Bills were actually like swept 0-2 like in a division. It wasn't that long ago. It was in 2019 with the Patriots. The Patriots beat us both times that year, which I think was the last Brady year, if I remember right.
Sounds about right. Yeah.
And then I looked again too. The Jets haven't swept the Bills since 2016. So
those are good times.
So I mean, it's been a hot minute since either of the 3 teams have managed to do it. So like,
there's definitely like a play on, you know, like we tend to split games a lot. You know, it's division games. They're always competitive. Someone takes one game, someone usually takes another. We took our home game, so I kind of like. The part of me definitely says, like, you know, hey, we lose to the Bills, like, it is what it is. Like, you guys are a top seed in the AFC. You're going to be home. Like, you know, you've already seen our defense once, so you have, you know, you have an ability to look at game film and say, like, okay, this is what they did, so this is what we do to beat them. But I think, we've made a change at quarterback. That's going to be kind of the biggest X factor of the whole game, is what White does against the Bills.
Yeah, and that might be a bit of a wild card. Like, the Bills did see Mike White play, obviously, last year.
And they got 4 picks out of him.
Right. Bills haven't really been all that great intercepting the ball this year, truth be told. So, yeah, it'll be interesting. I'm looking forward to it. Did you guys have? You didn't have Breece Hall the first time we played this year, did we?
No, I believe he was injured by then.
Yeah.
I believe that was we lost him, I think, before we lost him in the Broncos game, so we didn't even have him for either Patriot game. So which means we definitely didn't have him for you. That was, I think, we had Robinson for the Patriot game, but I would say the Bills game was the first week where we really decided, let's start using James Robinson a bit.
When do you guys play the Dolphins next?
Last week of the season.
Oof.
That could actually, we've been looking at, when I say we, I mean Jet fans, have been looking at, the playoff brackets, and the winner of that game could go on to determine seeding. And that could be the difference between the Dolphins having to play the Chiefs, or, the Dolphins having to play, the Ravens or the Bengals.
Yeah, that might have huge implications for the Bills too, because if we're leading the division and we tie the Dolphins and tiebreakers go to the Dolphins, we could suddenly go from first or second seeded to being a wild card team in the drop of a hat,
Yeah, I mean there is only a 2-game difference between you guys in first place and us in third, and the Dolphins are smack dab in between.
Right.
We beat you and Miami beats the Chargers, then all of a sudden I think Miami goes up to being first in the division, and that would actually, I think, make them the 2nd seed.
Especially if we get swept by the Jets, because did you guys beat the Dolphins or lose?
We have beaten the Dolphins once.
Okay.
That was the game where Tua was hurt, so he didn't even start, and then we injured Teddy Bridgewater early in the game.
Damn. Yeah, not to digress too much either, but I really the Dolphins are a good team, but it is a little concerning. Not as a Bills fan, but as a Dolphins fan, it's got to be a little concerning, looking at the wins and the fact that they haven't been able to beat a winning team in 9 weeks.
They've definitely benefited from.
They have the easiest schedule in football right now for the last the remainder of the season.
Yeah, they do.
So, yeah, interesting. I think we play the Patriots for our final game, so that one might just matter for
Yeah, our final games
our shit done.
Our final games are Lions, Jaguars on Thursday Night Football, Seahawks going out to Seattle, and then going down to Miami. So it's going to be interesting. If we beat the Bills, I'm not saying we will, but if, it makes things a lot easier, because then I think we can beat the Lions. Jags on Thursday Night Football, I feel like we could beat. Seahawks, it could be a toss-up, but, I mean, the Seahawks look good, but I feel like the Seahawks also benefit a lot from playing a lot of those easy teams as well. I mean...
Yeah, their division is kind of turned into a joke this year.
Yeah, the 49ers and the Seahawks are really the only two, and the 49ers just have a really great defense. They really now have no offense to speak of.
They had to have played each other once so far.
I believe they have.
How did that go?
I think the 49ers
won 27-7 in week 2.
Right.
They play next week. They play next Thursday.
Yes, so the Thursday night game.
Bills have we're hosting the Jets and then we're hosting the Dolphins back to back. So these next 2 weeks are almost like playoff games for us.
Yeah.
These are probably the most important games of the season now.
Yes, I think that these games are going to end up determining, like,
we also play
really how your whole playoffs go.
We also play Bengals, but I think these divisional games are just I think they just have more weight at the moment.
Yeah, they're definitely going to, especially because technically our division is still wide open. I mean, you know, there is still a path where the Jets could be the AFC East winners. Like, yeah, it's crazy. Crazy as that sounds.
Yeah, no, it's open still. I will say thank you, NFL, by the way, for maybe stacking the deck a little bit and flexing that 1 p.m. Dolphins game to an 8:15 Buffalo Winter game. That is, I think that was probably, I don't know how they make those decisions. Obviously it's for ratings and it's going to be a good game, right? But like, you know that somebody in one of those meetings is like, man, the Bills had to play down in Miami in like pretty extreme hot temperatures. Imagine the storylines we'll get if, you know, we get an icy Buffalo night or a snowy Buffalo night, like, to have them play in those separate extremes, you know.
The Dolphins have a quality loss, therefore we've eliminated the Buccaneers from the playoffs. Like, I just, you know.
All right, so that's enough of that. How about you, Brendan? Who are the G-men going up against?
Well, he talks
Philly. Well, I mentioned it in the recap that we're playing the Eagles, and we're gonna get our shit blasted.
Gonna get packed in real nice and good.
That's really all I have to say about that.
At Philly?
No, at home.
I don't know. I think you guys will be able to keep it competitive. Dable does a pretty decent
Philly
job.
is 7-point favorites.
Dable does a pretty decent job game planning to kind of keep. When he was the Bills offensive coordinator, I felt like he did a good job, like keeping the Bills in most of those kind of like games, even when like the odds were against us. Because I mean, remember, he was on the team before like the Bills were.
Yeah, I mean,
monsters that they were.
I get it, but the Eagles are just something else.
True. I mean, and it's also different players. I mean, it's going to be up to the players to execute that game plan. But I feel like you have a good enough coach to at least prepare that team enough to give it a shot. But I guess you'll find out within the first 2 quarters if, you know, if it's possible or not.
Yeah, we'll know pretty quick.
I'll be rooting for them. Fuck the Eagles.
I mean, sure. I'll take your pity root.
It's not a pity root, man. I always fucking go for the underdogs. You kidding me? And plus, like, I'm not the kind of person that would like root against my friends' teams unless we're playing against each other.
Right. I mean, I do the same thing with Liam.
Right. Yeah. Like I love the Jets. I want to see them succeed most of the time.
Yeah.
Except for last week when the shit was getting close, and I'm like, all right, man.
A couple years ago when Sam Darnold beat the fucking Cowboys, and I was like over the fucking moon about it.
That was his first game back from mono too. I remember.
Yeah, what a time. But yeah, Eagles this week, then Commies, Vikings, Colts, Eagles to finish the year. Those 2 wins we need to get into the playoff picture are looking very sparse. I really think we're going to be left on the outside. But we'll see what happens. I'm not going to be upset because I think this team overachieved. But it's a great building block to go into next year with.
I'm just hoping that you guys somehow manage to follow the same formula that the Bills did, where it's like you get a new coach and a new staff, and like with the existing players barely squeeze into the playoffs. It might not be a great playoff game, but that's what happened in 2017 with us.
Yeah, I mean, admittedly, you got some help.
Yeah, we need that Bengals. Oh, I still own that jersey. I will never forget that pass. And it was just another Ravens self-destruct.
Yeah.
That was a Flacco game, too.
Yes, it was.
Those two players, Dalton to Boyd. Amazing pass. Anywho, yeah, hopefully you guys squeak into the playoffs and then you can go into the off season. Like, I feel like it's important. And I think Daboll's already kind of shown that he's turning that organization around. And I think that part of the Bills' success originally with McDermott was he was a new coach. He came in and he like got the team to the playoffs. It was a bit more significant for the Bills, obviously, because we haven't been to the playoffs in God knows how long. But it's you got to imagine how helpful that is for your GM and your coach to like sell to free agents and, you know, to make a trade with somebody who's got a trade clause, you know, where like, look, we've been in the weeds for a little bit, right? But we just got in here. We barely made the playoffs. Like we're trying to turn this thing around. Like you got to imagine that there's some kind of value there, right? To show that like you don't have to sell somebody on false hopes. Like just trust us, bro. We're going to be better than what you see right now. It's like, no, you see it. We're already kind of having some success.
No, it's
more.
real hope.
Right.
It's real hope. It's the same thing the Lions are going through right now.
I wouldn't really call it hope. Like hope is a fan thing, but like faith. When players are making business decisions, they, you know, like right now, Houston has zero faith. Like if they want to get a free agent signing, they're going to be like, bruh, no, like there is not a single fucking thing that's going right on that team. I am not signing over there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No.
Whereas like the Giants are like, you know what? The pieces are starting to kind of fall into place. I want to be a part of this build. I think it's just an important. You already took that step. You don't need the playoffs for that, but like if you do, that is all the better.
Jets too. Like that's you know.
Absolutely.
Before it used to be like the Jets were the destination where you went to go get paid because you knew that you could extort them for probably a few extra million here. Because I mean, at the time, who wanted to go to the Jets? Like, and plenty of players did that, and they got their bag, and they didn't do shit. Tremaine Johnson is probably the biggest example.
Mario Williams for the Bills did that with us.
Like,
yeah,
you know,
Nate Solder for the Giants.
Yeah, like you know, sometimes teams with like that cap space, you know, there are players who are looking for that bag that you know, they go, I'm going over there because I know that they're going to give me the best contract, and then I'm going to get there and I'm going to do the bare minimum.
Yeah, there's there's some players that are opposite. They're like, I'm going to go there, get the best bag, and I'm going to show them why.
Exactly. And those, like, when we got Joe Douglas as our GM, that was kind of like, he was like, those are the guys I want. He's like, I want guys who, like, yeah, we're going to give them the money because they deserve it, but we want guys who go, I love playing football, I love being competitive, I want to win, and I'm going to be my best self every Sunday. Like, and right. They actually believe it. And I think that's affected how we draft. It's affected how we've approached free agency. We haven't been wild in free agency. And it's actually like, it's worked. We don't have many contracts, if any, where I go, man, that guy just isn't worth it. And the only one where I think I could probably make the case for is CJ Mosley. And I still think that it is worth it. Like, it was
man, he's doing a great ass fucking job on my fantasy team.
He is. No, and I mean, he was just kind of a liability in coverage for a bit, but he's actually cleaned that up this year. Like it was last year where in coverage he was bad, but this year he's really good. So it's, you kind of need that culture change. And you need someone to just step in and say, this is the kind of player that I want. And we're going to go out and get them through free agency. We're going to get them through the draft. And I mean, Jets did that quite a few times. I mean, we did it with Idzik as a GM, and that didn't go out so well. And then we got McCagnon and Bulls, and that didn't work out so well. And then we got He Who Shall Not Be Named.
And that really didn't go well.
And that, and it's not even like we could say, oh, well, we got the second overall pick, because guess what? We used that on fucking Zach Wilson. And now he sucks too. It's like Gase, it's like his fucking parting gift. Like, yeah.
This is all Peyton's fault.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I still blame Peyton.
This is all Peyton's fault.
I created Adam Gase.
I truly believe Peyton has it in for the Jets. He has, since he was in college. He spurned the Jets in the draft to go play one more year. I believe that was the year we ended up drafting Keyshawn, which, God, I hate him on the radio. And then he went to the Colts, and we beat the Colts a couple times in the playoffs too. 2002, I believe. Chad Pennington destroyed the Colts 41-0. We beat him again, I think, in 2010. They beat us in 2009. But then ever since then, it was just like, we were linked to Peyton when he was becoming a free agent. When he goes to the Broncos, and he retires, and then he's just like, hey, Jets, I haven't fucked you guys in some time. Go hire Adam Gase. And we did.
Hey, bitch, I haven't fucked you in a while.
Yeah. And we decided to follow his advice because we thought, what could go wrong? Everything could go wrong.
All right, you guys want to put out our guesses for tomorrow's Thursday night game?
Bad football.
Yeah, that's Raiders and Rams, right?
Raiders at Rams, yeah.
I picked the Raiders, so.
What's your spread?
Right.
What's your score?
Oh, fucking, I don't know.
Shay.
I'll go 23-17 Raiders.
I'm gonna go.
There's a lot of field goals in this game, I feel like.
24-13 Raiders.
I'm gonna go 19-9 Raiders.
Yeah, that's a lot of field goals. I have a feeling if you're streaming kickers, the Raider or Ram kicker this week would probably be a good one.
Probably the Raider one.
I think the Rams and Wolford can get close enough for a fucking field goal.
Wolford's not playing.
Oh, well, who the fuck they got as quarterback?
Well, he's questionable. That's why they got Mayfield.
Okay, well, if Mayfield plays, then take the Raiders kicker.
And then,
Yeah, that's gonna be the most vanilla offense.
other than that, remember they have Case Cookus.
I'm gonna start Cam Akers this week for the Rams. If it's Baker.
I'm sorry.
If it's Baker, they're just gonna feed Cam like all the
I
time.
got Jacobs ready to go. Jacobs is 5th overall in points.
Crazy. Well, that 46-point game, Eddie has got a 35 and a 32 as well.
Yeah,
He's
like-
running back one.
Yeah. His points for the year: 7.8, 8.6, 12.2, 32, 27.8, 35, 6.4, 10.2, 19.6, 17.5, 46.8, 20.
Interesting question. He's got 5 games to go. He has 13,000 rushing yards. Does he hit 2,000?
5 games. It is
He would
Rams,
have to...
New England, Pittsburgh, San Francisco, Kansas City. No, I'm gonna say no. He'll be at like
1,800.
1,800. I say 1,800.
Okay, it's fair.
He might, if they make the playoffs, he might get like an MVP vote or two, but he won't win it.
Derrick Henry just eclipsed 1,000 yards last week, I believe. Actually, no, he eclipsed it a few weeks ago. He just had a few shit weeks.
Yeah, same with Saquon. I think he got it a couple weeks ago. Saquon's at 1,055. Oh no, he just got it last week then.
I'm just happy to have James Conner back on my flex. He's been that's been a solid pickup. Yeah, I need to win this game in order to stay in the playoffs.
I think you'll win because I don't think my backups are gonna do enough. But
I should win this week because I got a bye week.
Oh yeah, you got Erica. He's playing Erica.
Yeah, he's
I'm
playing
up
Erica.
against
Okay.
Poor Erica. Well, she continues to have a team of bye Justin Fields, bye David Montgomery, Dylan on bye, Cooper Kupp hurt. She has started Cooper Kupp in the flex hurt, I think, since
like 4 weeks ago.
Yeah,
He got hurt.
Yeah, since 4 weeks ago.
All right. Well, that's it for the week 14. We'll see you on the flip, and hopefully we are all happy people next week.
God, I hope so.
God, I hope
Well,
so.
one of us won't be happy.
Yes, that is true.
Yeah.
One of us will not be happy at the very least.
Unless it ends in a tie.
Well, yeah.
Oh.
What happened? Yeah. What do we feel if it ends in a tie? Like, I mean, I'm not going to be happy. I'm not going to.
I don't feel strong one
as
way
a-
or the other.
As
Yeah.
a Bills fan, I mean, a loss is worse, but it's still not good.
If I die, tell my wife.
Don't cheer for ties. Not when it's a Bills game. All right, we're done. I'm out.